Hello friends, this is Dr. Aeronautics. Like many adventures, we're going to begin this one docked in New Venice. But instead of taking the boat out, we're actually going to hop off of it. Now there's one thing that I need to do before we head down to the Space Center for the first ever launching of a human into space. And that is, I realized we have no helicopter. And we need a recovery helicopter in order to recover the ship. So this will only take about 30 seconds. I know exactly what I need. A helicopter would be relatively simple. Okay, and we're going to build ourselves a quick helicopter right here on the lawn of the Capitol building. And we should be able to fly it now. There we go, perfect. Okay, now the interesting thing about this is, unlike what you would expect, we're not going to go all the way down to the Space Center on this helicopter, because the recovery helicopter is only half of it. Because the distance downrange is expected to be a massive 300 miles, we're going to need something with much more capability, especially if something goes wrong and I'm injured in the process. This destroyer will have all sorts of things on it that are very useful to me, and it will be involved in the recovery of the very first space mission. Now I'm going to maneuver it into place. This looks fine here. So next thing that I'm going to do, it's actually in a good position now. Just to add some tie downs, there we go, temporarily. And now we're going to send this whole thing down to the Space Center, and we're going to park it at a location that I'm going to mention. Now, if I can only find the cockpit. Okay, here it is. Alright, so I'm going to stop the video now, and I will come back when we're down at the Space Center, maneuvering into position. Now, as expected, we actually fit the north dock, but it is a slight bit out of the way, so I will have to run a boarding line to it. Doing some math, I have figured out that the recovery zone is going to be at x 1516 and y negative 4879. This is approximately 300 miles downrange, and I would expect it to be even further out than the furthest tracking islands. So we're going to go all the way out there. And this is going to take a while because I have to maneuver around the shallows here in order to get down there. If the frame rate doesn't improve, yeah, I'll see you guys when I get to the recovery area. Okay, so it's not as far out as I thought. It's only at the second pair of islands. So hopefully we'll actually splash down in the water. Now this is as close as I dare get. So this is about 50 or so quote miles away from where the capsule will be coming down, or will be expected to be coming down. So that is fine the way it is. So what I'm going to do now is proceed with the launch criteria. This time, the launch will be handled completely by the systems, or not the systems, but the people running this stuff. So we won't have to concern ourselves with actually working the launch logic. That's going to be taken care of for us. T-minus 5 hours. It's 2 a.m. local time. Launch is scheduled for 7 a.m. UTC minus 7 or 1400 UTC. So, in case you were wondering, and I haven't mentioned, I think I have, I'm the astronaut, so yeah, that's why I'm not handling the launch stuff. So the flight plan has a shower and a shave, and then I eat breakfast, which kind of stinks because I'm not hungry, so nom nom nom. Yeah, not gonna work. Okay. So then after breakfast is a pre-flight physical. So for that, we'd go downstairs into the ready room down here. After all, this is the operations and checkout facility, so we want to go ahead and do that. So right now we'd be getting our pre-flight physical, and then we'd be getting all those annoying biosensor applications. And then at T-minus, well, instead of, we'll just go by the hours. So at 03:1500 hours, we are to don the pressure suit. So everything here is my inventory. This is what I'm taking to space. There's a reason why I'm doing this. The crafting table represents toolkits. The fishing rod, I believe, was actually in the pack of the astronaut. I'm taking food with me, obviously because of that. I would be taking water with me, but there's no real good way to carry... Actually, yes, there is a good way to carry water. Let me get a water bottle, actually. Okay, so I've got a water bottle. The suit actually has built-in water, which is kind of nice, but I don't need it. Or rather, I shouldn't need this water bottle, but I'm bringing it just in case. Obviously bringing a gun and some bullets because sharks and stuff. Same with the utility knife here, that's obvious. Flashlights were taken on board the original Mercury mission. I'm taking a clock for obvious reasons, and there were some maps included in the astronaut pack. Over here are the materials that I need to build a boat. Might be a little bit excessive, but I'm pretty sure they actually did come up with some arrangements mid-term that the astronaut could actually use in case the life preserver wasn't enough. So we're going to don our pressure suit now. And we want to do it very carefully. Because if we don't do it right, then... well, hopefully we won't have to find out because the we're supposed to be pressurized anyway. So, first thing that goes on is the... this is technically on one piece, but as you pull it onto your body, it goes in that order. I'm going to carry the mask with me, so I guess that's not possible, so I'll just carry it there in my arms until we're ready. An oxygen tank will go onto the back, and the oxygen regulators and stuff will also be attached. So this is me in my astronaut suit, everything except the helmet. It's designed to keep pressurized in the event of a cabin depressurization, which we might have to do if there's a fire. If there were a fire on board the capsule, we could go ahead and pull the relief valve and the capsule will dump into space, but we're still wearing our suit, so the fire will die and we won't. So, at 04:35, we would be entering the transfer van. So we would go out the special astronaut doors designed only for launch. And, well, now there's no real transfer van, but we're going to pad 20. So if we were to take the proper route to pad 20, it would have us going out and around the back. So now we're going to go around the building here. And I have all of this nicely graded so that we can drive vehicles over top of it. Then we can go ahead and continue moving up the ground here, use a little bit of runway. Around to the front, here's the empty vehicle assembly building aside from the gantry train. Turn right, and here's the launch pad. Okay, so then there would be a pressure suit oxygen purge. So there's a funny way that we can actually check this. Actually, wait, no, not oxygen purge. But what we can do is the final pre-flight briefing. So that would be going on now. And then don the gloves and the helmet. So we are now fully decked out for launch here. And the next thing would be a pressure suit leak check. So that was what I was alluding to. We can actually do a leak check right here. Do you see any bubbles? I don't see any bubbles. Okay. We must be good then. So that was the leak check then. And the next step at 0515 is to enter and ascend the gantry, which I'm doing right now. So here's my quote breakfast that I was supposed to eat earlier, but whatever. And we're going to climb up the rocket support and access framework. So we're now traveling up to what would be called the White Room, but there's no real White Room because we've pretty much done all of our operations in the operations and checkout facility. In future missions, though, not all of it will be done in the O&C. Some of it will be done in the other building. And so here's the gantry right here to go right across. And there are some capsule pre-entrance checks that we want to do. So safety pins installed, hand controller locked, transmit switch to off, abort handle locked, and squib switch off. And we're going to board the capsule now. Okay, folks, here we are in the pre-dawn hours. We're sitting in the capsule now. I'm just looking at one of the portholes here. Or am I? No, I'm not. Okay, yeah, now I'm just looking at one of the portholes here. So yeah, like I said, pre-dawn. The eastern horizon is starting to glow red from dawn. And so yeah, if we can go ahead, one of these is a, I guess the window is still covered by the launch escape system. But yeah, so anyway, also visible, I believe, is the moon. Above, yes, that would be the moon. So it's looking to be a beautiful morning. As of now, we don't have to do anything until T-minus 125 minutes. So right now we would be, let me see now, T-minus 125, that would be 0955 Zulu. So while I'm doing this, we would now be settling into the couch that's in the capsule, We would be connecting the bio medical leads and the communications leads. Obviously we would be turning our oxygen gear on, so visor seal O2 supply is on, and we want to check to make sure that the visor seal O2 pressure is 1800 psi. Not sure if we can check that in here. Yeah, I don't see it. I didn't think so, but that's okay. So we'd obviously be doing an intercom check as well, and be fastening a restraint harness. That's obviously going to keep us in because there's lots of G-forces. And then at 0955 Zulu, we will go ahead and how did the field of view change again? I put it down to 32. What the heck? Okay, that's kind of weird. So it looks like the stars are gradually disappearing as we get on with dawn. Okay, so here we are, 0955. Suit fan switch number 1 to normal. Or rather to number 1. Why did I think it was to normal? That's kind of weird. Okay, so to number 1, check. So now we'd be removing sequence override, ring safety pins, for tower jet, capsule sep, main deploy, and reserve deploy. So we can't see these, but there's actually like supposed to, in the real life, there were actually pins in here that would actually stop you from being able to remove these pins. So we'd be taking those out now. That's so that when the boarding crew is in here, they don't accidentally like press a button and fire off something. But now that I'm in here, I obviously need access to those. And I'd be passing the pins to the ground crew, and now I would be also securing my helmet visor in the closed position. So might be able to take it off, but up until now it's actually going to be secured. So this happens at T-minus 75 minutes. So if I do the math right, 10:45 Zulu. And which planet is down in Saturn? I shouldn't be paying attention to that because the screen resolution is set to 4:3, and that's the only thing it's compatible with. So in real life, the astronaut couldn't see out, so I really should be kind of trying to ignore that. Okay, here we are. T-minus 75 minutes. So we'd be pressurizing the suit to 50 pounds per square inch. And then there would be yet another pressure suit leak test. And then at the end of the... and basically what that does is it checks the insides to make sure that there's no bleed of air. So if there were obviously hissing, then you'd know it, or a drop of pressure inside, you would know it's leaking. And then we'd relieve the suit pressure at the end of the test. Now the ground crew is going to be installing the side hatch, and now while they're doing that, I'm going to be conducting a interior inspection, which is rather long, so I'm going to pause the video while I do that. So I will see you guys at the T-minus 60 minute mark while I take care of this. T-minus 1 hour and counting. I've now completed the interior inspection check. We do have abort capability, by the way. So this abort light can light, and we can leave the mission at any point. Of course, that requires the launch escape system and parachutes to work perfectly. If not, we can troubleshoot. So now there's going to be a capsule pressure check. So they want to make sure that we're holding pressure, and then begin a denitrogen procedure, which means purge O2 breathing. So basically what's going to happen now is they're going to remove all of the nitrogen from the capsule and fill it with oxygen to make the place filled with 100% oxygen. This was a mistake because in Apollo 1 there was that tragedy. So after Apollo 1 they never went pure oxygen again. But we're going pure oxygen now. So then at T-minus 55 minutes, so now the personnel are clearing the gantry. The gantry is moving to the launch position, which means that the swing arm is going away. So now we need to do an escape system check. Squib switch to arm. Auto retro switch to arm. And now what we want to do is an isolated battery voltage check. We're going to place the voltmeter here, the DC voltmeter, in the ISOL switch, and check the isolated battery. And an immediate hold will be required if the isolated battery is below 28 volts. We know earlier that these voltages are 28 volts as well. So even though it doesn't look like it, it's reading 28 volts. So we're good to go. So we're going to switch that back to main. Okay, next thing. We're going to check the abort light, make sure that's fine. And ground command has just cleared us, so we're going to check the communication systems. So we're going to do transmit UHF, UHF to low power, and we're going to go ahead and test that. And I think it's kind of lame that you can't actually speak, which is dumb. There should be an audio clip that plays when you press that. So now we're going to switch the UHF selector to high power. And again, we're going to check. And now go back to the UHF low power. And now we're going to go transmit HF and check again. And check the key button, and that's fine. And now we're going to go ahead and do the till-end low frequency to off, which is beacon switch to continuous. And we're actually ready now until the T-minus 15 minute mark. So I will see you guys at T-minus 15 minutes. T-minus 15 minutes and counting. I'm just doing a quick check of all the electrical systems again, make sure everything is fine. Good. Okay. So, now range clearance has been granted, so that means the pad warning system light is now red. And the range control has issued the firing, or rather has given their go for a firing command. So that launch logic is in place. And they would be doing the pad checks now with recovery range, that kind of thing. If there were audio, you could hear that, but there's no audio included with this. So what we do at That's literally it until T minus 7. So T minus 7 should be coming up in, so it'd be 11:53. Okay, so we're at T minus 7 minutes now. So we'd be checking the time with the blockhouse, which is the ones doing all this stuff. Transmit switch, we're going to UHF. Squib switch, gonna do to arm. Auto retro to arm. And now we want to check to make sure that the restraint harness is locked and secure. The periscope is retracted. And the retract light is off. And let's see if the retract light is somewhere around here. I think that's fine. Alright. And apparently now we're also supposed to position our arms and hands. So, okay, I'm positioning my arms and hands. Now when liftoff comes, stuff is going to get really, really, really crazy because there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen at once. But we're just a couple minutes now out from launch. And coming up in about 40 seconds now, the Launch Control Center will be issuing the firing sequence. So that's issued at T minus 4 minutes 50 seconds. And when that goes, then it means we're going to launch. T minus 5 minutes and counting. T minus in 4 minutes and 50 seconds. The Launch Control Center has activated the auto firing sequence. At this time, we need to check that the spacecraft systems are go. So that means we need to check all of our electrical systems again. Make sure that we are indeed go for launch. Suit environment is looking good. Nominal pressure and temperature. With steam vent temperature good as well. Cabin pressure and temperature looking good. Oxygen is okay. And looks like we're good. So launch control switch is ready. So we have now given full control for the pad 20 to launch us now. So we're only at the mercy of its fire and control now. And with the spacecraft ready light on, which we don't have able to see, that's fine. So now nothing happens really until T minus 2 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video until we get to the T minus 2 minute mark. And then from then on until launch, it's straight video. T minus 2 minutes and counting. Because of deals with the launch sequence, there's going to be a little bit of fluctuation in the time, so we might not know exactly when we're going to launch. But right now, the Freon coolant flow should be being stopped. And that's about it until T minus 35, and some more stuff happens. So I figured out the way Alan Shepard was able to do the flight. He only made like 2 or 3 status reports. So apparently all these items in here that say standard status reports, most of them actually weren't done. So I'm not going to stress about that. There is one stressful part, and that is the manual control test. That's quick. I may not make it all the way through it. in which case we can just throw that off. Okay, so we're at T minus 50 seconds now. T minus 50 seconds. So at T minus 35, the vent valves will close, then the fuel tank will pressurize, the LOX tank will pressurize, the vehicle will be given power, the boom will drop, engine ignition, main stage will become operational, and then at T minus 0 is liftoff. Alright, so I'm going to watch that clock now, and that better operate. T minus 20 seconds now. I'm going to put my hand over the time 0 button in case it doesn't happen. And we should be getting launch any second. And we have launch. The clock is ticking. Clock operating. Abort light is off. Going to monitor these two telelights here. Tower jet and capsule set. Okay, 30 seconds. Standard status report. Control fuel system is 100%. The G value is currently 0.5 Gs. The vehicle pitch angle is approximately 90 degrees. The cabin pressure is 5 psi, and the cabin O2 supply is 40%. Everything is just fine. Okay, control fuel supply approximately 95%. G value 1 G. Vehicle pitch angle is 80 degrees. Cabin pressure is 5 psi, and the cabin O2 supply is 40%. Control fuel supply is approximately 95%. The G value is approximately 2 Gs. The vehicle pitch angle is now at approximately 70 degrees. Cabin pressure is approximately 5 psi, and the cabin oxygen primary supply is 40%. Control system fuel supply is 95%. The G value is approximately 3 Gs. The vehicle pitch angle is about 60 degrees. Cabin pressure is 5 psi. Cabin suit oxygen pressure. Tower jet. Cut off. Capsule SEP. Capsule SEP is on green, and the turnaround has started. The rate indicator is functioning as expected. In orbit attitude. Manual control test. Pitch down, yaw left, pitch up, roll left, yaw right, roll right. Pitch on, pitch, yaw on, yaw, roll on, roll, and T plus 4 minutes. I have the periscope up now. In terms of cloud cover, it looks like the coast is covered in a blanket of cumulus clouds. I can see the east coast I can see the launch center, which is roughly underneath. Oddly enough, I can't see the recovery ship yet. And I can see the Caribbean right here. And there's a little bit of sun glare. The stars outside are absolutely fantastic. Start retro sequence. Retro attitude telelight is green. Retro warn. Fire 1, Fire 2, Fire 3, and the Fire Retro Telelight is on green. Back to ARM Retro switch. Going fly-by-wire. Roll. The Jettison Retro Telelight is on green. Back to normal control. Going HF. Testing the transmitter. To re-entry attitude. Periscope retract. Going UHF. Control system fuel supply is approximately 90%. The G value is approximately 1/2 G. The vehicle pitch angle is at +30. The cabin pressure is 5 psi. And the cabin suit, or rather the cabin oxygen supply, is 40% approximately. A quick peek from the outside, if you will. Okay, preparing for re-entry. .05 G, aux on. G build up. 3, 6, 9. Everything A-OK? Nine minutes going normal. Rate of descent 140. Let's see if I can start reading some of these. Altitude 55,000 feet. Everything is just fine. $45,000 feet. $40,000 feet. 38,000 feet. $35,000 feet. $30,000 feet. Standing by for drogue deployment. $25,000. Rate of descent still 140. The drogue has deployed. The snorkel is now open. Emergency O2 light is on. The drogue is A-OK. Something wrong with that window there. I should be able to see it. Altitude is now 12,000 feet. Rate is still 140. Standing by for main deployment. I have main deployment. Altitude approximately 10,000 feet. Rate is 600, 400. The landing bag is red. The landing bag is on green. Altitude 9,000 feet. Coming up on 12 minutes. Altitude is approximately 7,000. Control fuel is a 75%. The G value is 0 Gs. The vehicle pitch angle is at 90 degrees. The cabin pressure is 5 psi. Oxygen percentage is 40% supply. Altitude 6,000 feet. So at landing, there will be an impact, then the main parachute will disconnect, then there's a reserve chute which is going to eject, and then there's dye and shark repellent that's going to be ejected, and then there's going to be an HF recovery beacon that is going to go out, that's for the helicopter, and I am to report water impact. Altitude now 5,000 feet. Control fuel 70%. G value approximately 0 Gs. Pitch is 90 degrees. Cabin pressure is 5 psi. And the oxygen percentage of the cabin is still 40%. So instead of looking out the window here, which is supposed to be visible, I'm having to do this instead. I guess it would look more like that if you were looking through the window here, just like that. Rate of descent 400.
1,000.
Altitude is approximately 3,000 feet. The control fuel is still about 70%. The acceleration is approximately 0. The pitch is 90 degrees. The oxygen is 40%, and the cabin pressure is 5 psi. Altitude is now approximately 2,000 feet. Altitude approximately 1,000 feet. Standing by for impact with the water. Still everything A-OK.
300.
Altitude approximately 0. Rate is now
200.
350.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Water impact. T plus 15 minutes, 36 seconds. And that is it. So now it's 16 minutes. We're just going to stand by here and wait for the helicopter to go ahead and pick us up. So what's going to happen is the helicopter is going to first pick me up and then take me inside the cabin, and then the helicopter is going to pick up the capsule from a tow, and then it's going to carry both of us to the ship, where we'll be returned to the Space Center. And here they are, right as promised. Now I'm in the helicopter, and then we're going to go ahead and pick up the capsule itself. And then set it down on the deck of the ship. That's rather interesting. Oh, did it decompile? No, it did not. Now it did. Question mark? Am I seeing things here, or did this thing just disappear? What the heck is going on? Okay, so what's going on is I parked the capsule on the stern of the ship instead of the bow. I guess I kind of forgot that there was also a stern deck or something. Ha, stern deck. That's funny. So if we just do a little bit of reorienting work. Good. And then we just park the helicopter on this side, on the bow. And then all three can move at the same time. And here he is, people, the man from space. Well, I am fantastically proud. All that's left to do now is to bring this party ship back to the mainland, and by the time it looks like it's about time to do that. I thank you guys for joining me on this first space mission. I might do one more mission that I won't record before we decide to go orbital. And when we go orbital, it'll be a very big deal. Several hour flight, bigger rocket, the exact same capsule. So I look very forward to that. So I will see you guys next time. Come on, I'm trying to have a nice ending here. I did it just fine the very first... There we go. You can't click close stuff and hold shift at the same time. And I gotta put this stuff back. Alright, see you next time.